Watkins Glen International was born from competition on the streets of Watkins Glen, New York in the late 1940s. It has a storied past, including being the home of the U.S. Formula One Grand Prix and has always been a sports car mecca. Today it plays host to rounds 5 and 6 of the Porsche GT3 Cup USA by Yokohama series. Welcome to Watkins Glen International, everybody. Great to have you with us for our coverage of this great, exciting championship. Should be an interesting day of racing. Looking at the weather, we'll talk about that in a moment. On every weekend, there's a doubleheader, and we're going to give you full coverage of today's round, the 6th round of the championship. We'll look back at round 5, which just happened to run in the dry yesterday. Today could be a little different story. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by John Hondoff and Jeremy Shaw. And looking forward to this one. Should be interesting. The weather is certainly going to play a key role here. You can see the cars ready to go. Track already damp, windshield wipers on. Temperature a cool 73 degrees. Not much wind right now, but the forecast is for increasing rain. That is going to play a huge role in what unfolds here. Now, there's also some big news unfolding here. Absent in the first couple of rounds of the championship was a guy named Angel Benitez, who was a key player in the 2013 and 2014 Platinum Class Series. He's back, teaming up with JDX Racing, Jeremy Dale, and Harrison Brix's team, and big stories unfolding for him. He bookended his season last year with this win at the season finale at Road Atlanta, and it all started with 2 wins there at Sebring to kick the year off in March. He is a serious factor. He is here for the rest of the season, we understand. Which is great news. Now let's take a look at highlights from round 5 yesterday. Pole sitter Elliott Skier, point leader, swept around the outside by Benitez in that black Hertz JDX machine. He got to the point and the battle was on. He and Skier heading up the hill into those wicked quick S's. As you can see, as they come out of the boot section, it was Benitez leading away from Skier with Lazar right there. A little bit later in the race, John Getz in his Wright Motorsports Porsche gets it wrong coming out of the bus stop into the barriers. A little bit of fluid down on the track. The action continued in the gold category. Remember, there are 2 different classes running. Mike Levitas in his DSC Sport Tractor Suspension Porsche from TPC Racing was in complete charge, but up front, it couldn't have been closer in the overall and platinum battle. As you can see right here, number 14, Skier closing up on the back of Benitez. Remember, Benitez here last year lost both of the races in the final lap. Watch here, he protects, locks up, goes a little wide. Skier couldn't get underneath him, but it brought Lazar right into the picture. But when he needed it, Benitez was able to find a 10th, open that margin up out of the final turn, comes through and earns the win. Maybe a bit of retribution and payback for what happened last year over Lazar and Skier. Great return to the series for him. And in the gold category, it was Levitas. He just controlled round 5 over Jeff Mosing, the point leader, and David Ducote. And round 5 was certainly exciting. Round 6 could be even more so. As you can see, the rain really starting to pick up, and it's supposed to continue or just get heavier, which means everybody here probably running as soft as they can get in terms of setup on the cars, trying to find any bite. Now, there are 2 different classes with subclasses in each running here. Just to explain that, you've got Platinum and Platinum Masters, Gold and Gold Masters. Since we're talking about Gold Cup, let's take a look at Gold Cup points coming in here. Jeff Mosing, pretty big margin already in the season over Wayne Ducote and David Ducote. That's a father-son duo. But in the Platinum class, things much, much closer. Elliott Skier, the young gun, and the 17-year-old gun, Jesse Lazar, 2 points separating them. But add in here Benitez and his performance in round 5. This one should be absolutely superb. And this weather's going to keep it interesting. But at the front, the points battle, it's down to these 2 young men and a number of chargers, including the returning Benitez. Who's going to do it? That's what we're here to find out. Welcome back, everybody, to a very wet Watkins Glen International for our coverage of the 6th round of the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge by Yokohama. And everybody out on their pace and parade laps, and more than ever, these pace laps in particular are going to be huge in terms of trying to determine where grip is on this track, finding the rain line, not generally the usual racing line, So it's a bit of an exploratory effort here at this point. We talked about the multiple classes. Well, the reason is there's a couple of different cars running. Let's take a look. In the Platinum category, it is the newer 2014-2015 Porsche 991 platform car. A little bit more aggressive in terms of its stance, aerodynamic downforce, and it also has a very effective electro-pneumatic paddle shift. The Gold class is for the slightly older cars, the 997 platform machines from 2010 to 2013. Just not as aggressive in their stance, in the aero. They don't have the paddle shift, but they're narrower on a track where straight line speed is king. They can still be very, very effective. I think the rain today is going to give us some pretty psychedelic moments with some of these cameras. That's just how it works. Actually, rather beautiful in a way to be watching this and watch it unfold. And the other key thing I was talking about on these long now pace laps, and we're going to start the clock. We're actually adding one more lap under caution, but they are timed events, so the clock will start 45-minute timed events. As I said, you're exploring for where you can find grip. Since '09, this series has run on Yokohama tires, and a special one at that, the ENVR1 and then the R2, that infuses orange oil into the compound to use more naturally occurring rubber. This is a great opportunity for the Yokohama tire engineers to learn more about their rain tire, which is a much softer tire. You've got to have the tire soft to generate heat, and then you've got the big tread blocks and sipes and grooves to get the water out from underneath the tire and get that contact down to the ground. Yokohama has been a huge partner along with Porsche in this championship for a very long time. Fortunate to have them, and that's why this is a laboratory, certainly for Porsche, but even more so in a way perhaps for Yokohama, because you can learn a lot more in one weekend of racing with 26 cars like this field is than hundreds of days of testing with individual cars. So it's all about data acquisition and then transferring it to the product that ends up on the cars that are on the road that carry your loved ones. So not just about fun, but very, very critical information as well. Let's do a quick look back on the season thus far, getting us to this point since we have a little extra time here. The opening doubleheader at Sebring, young 17-year-old Jesse Lazar sweeping the weekend in Platinum. Jeff Mosing and Sebastian Landy getting the gold wins. At the next round, at a brand new venue, NOLA, which is just outside New Orleans, Louisiana, Elliott Skier got the win, and David Ducote in gold, but the second round there, round 4, was rained out. Similar conditions here, so that's how things look. Now let's take a look at our starting grid, and Elliott Skier on the pole. Big story there. Jesse Lazar qualified third. Santiago Creel there for Wright Motorsports, another tremendous qualifying effort. Will Hardiman, in only his first season ever of professional racing, only a couple of races previous to that. Pretty amazing performance what he's doing as well there for the True Speed team. Andrew Long right there, and look at it, 10th overall. That's your Gold Cup pole sitter, Mike Levitas. Yesterday's race really controlled it, had a great run there. See if he's able to do that again today. Vastly different conditions. There's David Ducote, another of the gold category players. There's Jeff Mosing, 15th overall. Didn't get the qualifying he wanted. He's usually very good in the wet, however. We'll see how that plays out. He's got a big lead in the points. And as we continue to take a look, there's Charlie Putman. Nice to have him here making his debut this season for the Atlanta Motorsports Group team. And then the Catanias, Joe and his young son Lucas, both out of basically Syracuse, New York area, and his son Lucas, who you're going to see, he had a problem in the qualifying. There he is, sitting back in 25th overall right now. Lucas just graduating from college in Geneva, New York, just the other end of Lake Seneca here, with a biochem degree. Well, gentlemen, we are just about ready to go. It is time for the green flag coming up. John Hindhaugh, take it away.
All right, settle yourselves down, everybody. Find a bit of cover if you can. Hello to everybody who is further afield than Watkins Glen as we're ready to go racing for round number 6 of the Porsche GT Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. We are already counting down the 45 minutes. The safety car lights are out, but it is going to be a 2x2 start. That surprised me just slightly, because effectively we're coming off a safety car period. Elliott Skier and Angel Benitez Jr. on the front row. The white and red car is your pole man.
Yeah, I think we just decided just to delay the start for us. With the time, the clock is ticking, but I think we're just about to start lap 1. What a great start there.
Skier gets a good jump off the final corner, heads down into the 90 right at the end of the start-finish straight. Everybody on the brakes very early indeed, searching for Griff. The water running downhill. There's a river down there. Just as you turn in, and Benitez goes round. Oh, and Skier's gone round. Everyone's gone round. Creel, Lazar, Hardiman, everybody's gone there. At least 3 or 4 cars. Benitez Jr. though got through, and he's away in an exact copy of what he did in the dry in round number 5. He drove around the outside of Poleman Skier. This time Skier trying to pinch it, coming off the first corner. Just went around, and carnage, absolute carnage behind him on lap 1 of round number 6. So Benitez Jr. leads it. I'm sure Creel went around there as well. Who is going to be second when we see them through the spray? So down into the first corner, it looks good for Skier. He's a little conservative. Benitez does what he did in the dry. No, I'm sure there was no touch there, Jeremy.
Nope.
Creel goes around, Hardiman's in there as well, and then as everyone checks up, of course, there's all kinds of spinning. Jeff Mosing, I think, going around there further down the field as well. He's one of the gold class runners. Out of the race then for the 19, Hardiman. I did think I'd seen that car go around, and that's got damage. He's not coming back.
Yeah, I think that's somewhere else, because he was kind of held up in that instant there at turn 1. I think he got going again, so I'm not quite sure.
Not very far.
Yeah, it's up through the S's, isn't it? So
yeah,
that was a separate
full
incident.
course caution, yeah, as we might have expected.
What a brilliant move that was, though,
Again
by Angel Benitez Jr. and Elliott Skier there. You know, we're going to see this during the race. The outside line here is kind of the preferred groove, because we've got these concrete patches on the inside of the corners, and they are very, very slippery. Around the outside is still asphalt. That is where the grip is. Angel did exactly the right thing, got himself in the position, and poor Elliott Skier was kind of wrong place, wrong time there. He tried to hold on to it, and around the car went. Hopefully, he'll be able to rejoin without any major damage.
Well, and Jeremy, too, the number 11 there, Wayland, having a spin during this as well. These conditions atrocious. Dan making his first start of the season. He's raced before, but not this year. And in these new Platinum cars that he's not used to, and making his debut in about as atrocious conditions as you can imagine. So we continue under caution for Hardiman's car pulled off on track. We're going to step away for just a moment as a result. When we come back, hopefully we'll be back to green at Watkins Glen. Well, we continue under caution here at Watkins Glen International, round 6 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge by Yokohama. Cars picking the pace up just a little bit here as they're trying to anticipate possibly going green relatively soon. And it is still, of course, Benitez that is leading in this one. But guys, before we go back to green, let's go back and take a look at what happened at the start.
This was just a great move into the first corner by Angel Benitez Jr. I'm sure there was no touch there. There's Creel going around in the red and white car. There's Kilman going through. Now, there was a touch there.
Will Hardiman behind, who just sort of touched the back end.
Well, Jeremy, I think it was more of a touch. Looking at it now, he got in there pretty good, and that's where those radiators are fairly exposed. That's never a good thing, John. He may have more damage.
He's damaged his steering. He's damaged the left front steering. That was what gave him the issue at the S's, and he's had to pull off. I did think he was involved in that, as he's pulled that Texas car up to driver's left, just beyond the top of the hill. That's a shame for him. Had a good run yesterday.
Yes, very impressive. We talked about him very briefly there in the introduction, and there's all sorts of bits and pieces. I
Most of it off the track, thank goodness.
Number 19 car, I think that's from at turn 1. And we talked about it briefly. I mean, he went to a charity event at Circuit of the Americas, knew nothing about motorsports, had an opportunity to drive a Porsche during that kind of track day, just fell in love with it. And it was a local team there, Moorespeed. They're based in Austin as well, so they got to know each other, and they said, look, come on, come and drive. You're quite good at this. So he did. He started racing, and here he is now in this Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, having done he maybe did 10 races last year in various club events and Porsche Car Club of America events. But he's been really, really fast, and that's most unfortunate for him to be involved in that. What really wasn't his incident.
Where did Andrew Long come from? He was 10th on the grid, so he picked his way through. but Wild Bill up into 8th.
He was 13th on the grid.
Yeah.
Jay Patel did a great job there too in car number 00. He came up from, I think he was behind Wild Bill on the grid.
Yeah, you're right, he was. Yeah.
And then both he and David Giacotti and all those other guys farther back. 89 car, Oscar Arroyo up into 10th place, having started
21st.
Yeah, 20th with one car pulling out.
Correct.
But,
yeah, good point. But he'll think all his birthdays and Christmases came together. Now he's got to keep it together on the outskirts of the top 10 there and try and push forward from there. In the gold category, Michael Levitas, and we know he's good in the wet. We've seen him before. He's in the 5th position, and his nearest competition is David Dakota down in 9th position. That's a battle we'll need to watch then. The 36 car and David Dakota in the 6th machine. But the conditions here are very, very tricky indeed. We've gone through almost 10 minutes of the allotted time, 45-minute race here. So 35 to go, obviously. And once that stranded car of Will Hardiman, the 19 machine, is cleared, we should be back to racing fairly quickly. Angel Benitez Jr., though, once again showing his class and his skill. Pulled the outside manoeuvre yesterday. Can't really say that Elliott Skier did much wrong yesterday in the dry, and I'd say exactly the same today in the wet. Perhaps a tiny little bit conservative going down to the first right-hander, but in the conditions that we had, a man, remember, who is leading the championship and has dropped down to 21st position.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he didn't want to do.
True, but at least he's still going. That's the good news. Both Elliott Skier,
conditions like this.
And Santiago Creel, they both rejoined there in the 21st and 22nd positions, having started on the pole and 4th respectively. So they are at least able to rejoin the fray and continue there. And Jesse Lazare too, he was kind of held up in that incident, but he's rejoined in the 6th place. So he's the other major championship contender, Jesse Lazare, the young Canadian in car number 21, running in the 6th place now. Won both of the races at Sebring, super fast, qualified 3rd here. And ran 3rd yesterday, but here's a good opportunity for him now to make up some points. And for Angel Benitez Jr., John, having missed the first 3 races of the season, won yesterday maximum points. Can he get another maximum point score here for JDX Racing? And
he wants to see those championship contenders, Skier and Creel, stay as far back down the points. There's not a huge points differential in terms of the gap between 1st and 2nd. So yesterday, with Benitez leading but winning the race, but with the championship leader Elliott Skier coming in 3rd, he only made up a handful of points. However, if he drops down into the 20s, and that would be something like, at the moment, he's 14th position in class. Now, that's the sort of points differential you'd start having to have to make a dent in the championship lead and give yourself, if you're Angel Benitez Jr., half a chance of becoming a championship contender at this stage of the season.
Yeah, very much so. You get 20 points for winning a race, and then there's 2-point differentials down through the top 6. So 2018, 16, 14, 12, and 10. And then it's 1-point differentials down from there. So for 14th place, Elliott Skier currently would score 2 points.
So that's an 18-point swing.
18-point swing, which is, you know, he needs a few of those, does Angel Benitez.
He's almost 40 points behind, isn't he? So he needs at least a couple of those. But these are the sort of races that you've got to be scoring well at, and just, you don't want to wish ill on anybody else, but these are the guys. Benitez Jr. doing what he needs to do. Get out front and win. Don't worry about the other guys. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Well, that's a very good point, missing the opening couple of events in the championship. If he wants to play in the points championship, that's his only mission, isn't it? Lights are out on the pace car. We're going to step away for just a second. When we come back, we will be back to green here at Watkins Glen. Stay with us. This big field of Porsches still under caution as they exit the boot, but anticipate going back to green this time by in just a couple of corners. John?
Just over 32 minutes to go, and Angel Benitez Jr. leads the 6th round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. It's John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw watching the action at Watkins Glen International. And Benitez Jr. in the black and gold machine has given himself a little bit of breathing space to the safety car. He doesn't want to overlap that as it comes into pit lane. Drivers right here, coming into the final corner. And the whole line of this Porsche GT3 Cup field coming through terrible conditions to see if you are behind the leader, but great if you're Benitez Jr. He's got his wiper going side by side across the line. Casey Coleman and Andrew Long has a look in the blue car down the inside. He's got the run, he's got the overlap, he's got second position. Now can he keep it on the track? He can, just about. Oh, he's got a little bit wide. There was a lot of water out there. Coleman comes side by side and he's got position into the S's, but decides better of it and drops back. A very strong manoeuvre on the restart by Andrew Long in the 47 car, and a spinner, and this could be a problem as well. The 74 car down the field, that has spun around. That's Wild Bill, but he's managed to get through that very distinctive colour scheme with the star on the side. He was in the top 10. He's spun that away and is now at the back of the field. No issues for the leader, Benitez Jr., and a strong restart from Andrew Long sees him in second position. That was very brave indeed from Andrew Long. Casey Coleman in third, then Shine Levitas, the best of the Gold Cup leaders, best of the Gold Cup runners in the older cars, in fifth position. Magic restart by Benitez and by Long.
Yeah, absolutely right. Great restart there by the 20-year-old Andrew Long from Florida. So he's kind of used to
20.
Yeah, 20 exactly. Yeah. Here we're watching here the DSC car. That is our Gold Cup leader, Michael Levitas, running a fifth place overall. Oops, another spin for Dan Wayland. Looks like got some damage on the right rear corner as well.
Yeah, that's coming up in the early part of the lap. He's already had one rotation, and that's another one. These drivers just finding it a bit difficult as the 36 car, Michael Levitas, has Jesse Lazare in right up the inside, trying to get the grip there. Good opportunity to see where the grip is on the track there, Jeremy, with two very different lines being used by those drivers.
Yeah, very interesting. Was it right around the outside goes the more experienced Michael Levitas there. That's on the asphalt there, keeping off the concrete. Jesse Lazare trying to take the shorter line on the inside and finding it very, very slippery. What a great job, though, by Andrew Long. He's really hanging with our race leader, Angel Benitez Jr.
The right-hand side window, the passenger side window, missing from Michael Levitas's car. Now, yes, good news, bad news situation. Good news, he's getting some airflow through. Bad news, he's getting water in the car, which might make it steam up a little bit. Leaders coming back towards us, just under half an hour of the 45 minutes to go. Benitez Jr. across the line. Andrew Long pulls out of the spray to get an idea of where he is. Find your braking point, turning in over that little rivulet of water. Long turns in and this time stays within the boundaries of the yellow and red curbs as they head up towards the S's. The leads two have got away by about 5 seconds on the rest of the field, which is headed now by Casey Coleman, one of our Masters class drivers in the 15 car. Then Michael Shine, Levitas, Lazare, Jay Patel in 7th, Lucas Catania up to 8th ahead of Charlie Putman in 9th, and David Ducote hanging on in 10th position. And that's the second of the gold class runners there, David Ducote. Michael Levitas in 5th, leading that category.
Yeah, and it was Andrew Long who set the fastest lap on that lap around, 2 minutes 19.6, about a second quicker than Angel Benitez Jr., and that showed on the scoring because he closed right up on that lap.
Now there's a problem for Michael Levitas, and that is the shape of the 21 car, Jesse Lazare behind him. Now that is a battle for position, it's a battle for a bit of pride. But as you can see, if you look carefully, the two cars are slightly different. Look at the rear light treatment on those cars. The DSC car is one of the gold category cars, the 997. And the 21 is the 5th position car in the class of the prototypes, excuse me, of the platinum, as we just see a spin for David Baker, who did a great run yesterday just outside the top 10, finding the wet conditions less to his liking today.
At least his second spin, I think, for David Baker. Way down the back of the field, he was in 21st place on the last lap around. He won't have improved that with that spin.
No.
But look at his first two really pulling away now.
Well, they are that, Jeremy, and we can see the different lines everybody's using out there, trying to find grip depending upon what your car is offering at this point. But as you said, these two really drawing away. Andrew Long having another superb run. He had a great second-place finish in only his second event at NOLA Motorsports Park just outside of New Orleans. And today is the only guy who seems to have any kind of pace for Angel Benitez. And the amazing thing for Benitez is, since the season finale last year, he has not driven one of these cars. Yet he comes back immediately on pace. I think he likes it here at the Glen, even with his problems last year. And in the wet, he seems to shine. We'll be right back. The only thing that's changed at the front since we stepped away are these two guys, Benitez and Long, leading by an even bigger margin. But John, a great battle unfolding for that third spot.
Casey Kuhlman holding on in third place, but is another 9 seconds further back. Then Shine, Lazar, Levitas. Michael Shine's gone through there. And Lazar has gone through, on Michael Levitas, who drops down to 6th, Patel 7th, Catania 8th. Jeff Mosing now coming up through the field. That's a great charge through. He's 2nd in the gold class now. He's just gone past David Dakota, who is in 10th position. That's a great battle. Yellow flag, and once again, that is the green and yellow car that we've seen with submission. Oh, yeah, wheels on the grass. It's not going to work for Dan Wayland. And he's hit the wall a couple of times there, and Dan will not be happy with himself there. Just got the left-hand wheels onto the dirt, and as good as his Yokohama tyres are, they are not made for off-roading and wet grass.
No, they're not. So the veteran driver there having a bit of a tough time in these very treacherous conditions. But I'm watching Elliott Skier here in car number 14. He restarted this when we went back to green. He was in 21st place. He's now up into 12th, is Elliott Skier, and doing the best he can to work his way through the traffic. He's got to be careful. He can't afford to take any chances while passing some of these guys, because everybody is in total concentration mode at the moment.
Yes.
They're not really going to be looking too much in their mirrors.
And interestingly, Santiago Creel, who was right with him, has only progressed to 17th position. So that just tells you how well the championship leader is doing to have got himself back to 12th position. And what he's in now at the moment is damage limitation mode. And we're not talking about damage on the car, Jeremy. We're talking about holding on to as many points as he can in his championship chase. And he's doing a pretty good job of that at the moment. He can't afford, though, to let his enthusiasm get the better of him. The 36 car is now in 6th position, but Michael Levitas is still leading, for the moment at least, the gold category. But Jeff Mosing is liking these wet conditions. Jeff got within a car, and a big shunt, and that is the 21 car of Jesse Leger, and Michael Shine has gone around, and that is big damage to the 16 car, and that will be another full course caution. The windscreen wiper flailing in the air with debris strewn across the track, reducing that normally pristine car into some of its component parts. Reverse has been selected by Michael Shine, and he's trying to get the car out of harm's way. Now, did he jump or was he pushed? And he just, I think, lost it coming onto the curbs. Yes, just in the middle of the track. Just too much of the right foot. Fortunately, we've got some barrier protecting tyres there. Had a very similar incident there yesterday with the Lamborghinis. It's just on the run from the last, or the penultimate corner to the last corner, and it looks as though brilliantly, actually, that Michael Shine has got his car into the pit lane. Now, we're still going to have a quickie full course caution to get rid of the debris, but that's really heads-up driving by Michael. He found reverse, got himself out of the way, and he's in pit lane.
Saves himself a walk too. He's not going to get quite so wet as he would otherwise, looking on the bright side. But yeah, what a lot of damage to that car. So he's not going to be able to continue, but he has got it back to the pit lane. But there was an awful lot of debris there. All sorts of bits of that Porsche left littered across the racetrack on the exit of turn 10. So Dan Wayland's still going as well, with that car's pretty battered and beaten. Man.
And he's been very lucky.
Of that car.
He's been very lucky he hasn't done a radiator there, because you can actually see the right-hand front radiator through the last vestiges of the bodywork.
And speaking of bodywork and damage, there now is Shine under the control of the Wright Motorsports crew, getting that car pushed behind the wall. His day done for the New York City native. Great to have him back in the championship. But this full course caution, guys, it's bringing everybody back to those two leaders, Benitez and Long. Can anybody take advantage of that? We'll find out when we come back to the Glen. We continue under caution here at a very wet Watkins Glen International for the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge by Yokohama. Mike Shine's incident exiting turn 10, the second to the last corner, is what caused this caution. And the good news is, as you saw, he was able to drive that car back into pit lane. So in terms of the cleanup and getting things back on track again, John, I don't think it's going to take too long, is it?
Might be done very quickly indeed. The Porsche intervention vehicles are there.
Quite a bit of little bits and pieces there.
Yeah, that's smart by Benitez Jr. Look how far off the track he's gone there, Jeremy. There's also a bit of repair and reconciliation to be done to the barrier. Very odd one, just got on the power, wasn't anywhere near the curb, and Michael Shine, as soon as it started to go, he got on the brakes, but there was no getting it back from that point. I don't think the camber helping him there.
No, and Jesse Lazare there went off to the right-hand side to make sure that he was out of harm's way there. Had to go across the grass, which is very, very slippy. Did a good job, very, very good job.
As did Michael Levitas, leading the gold class, picking his way through quite large pieces of debris, heads-up drive. What you don't want to do there, Jeremy, is jump on the middle pedal, because all you do there is head immediately to the scene of the accident.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But it's neutralised once again. It would be probably a couple of laps at least under yellow, because there's a lot of debris there to pick up, plus to check that the tyre barriers against the armco on the exit of turn 10 on the inside of the track, on the left-hand side of the racetrack, are going to be okay to to arrest any more cars that might go off there. But tell you what, the guy who's happy to see this caution period is Elliott Skier. Up into 9th place he'd been charging along there, setting lap times that were good enough for the top 4 or 5, despite the fact he was working his way still through a lot of cars that are much slower out on the racetrack. So car number 14 up into the 9th place.
Michael Levitas leading gold in 5th position, but he's got Jeff Mosing now right in his wake, and it is wake around some of here. He's moving a lot of water, so keep an eye open for the bright yellow number 01 of Jeff Mosing, second in the GT3 gold category to Michael Levitas in 5th position, and no cars between them in this round. There he is, sitting, planning, plotting, scheming, trying to work out how he might get by that pesky 36 car that he has seen an awful lot of the back of this season.
Yeah, and Jeff Mosing, he had set a faster lap than Michael Levitas, even though Michael was running really well there in the 5th or 6th place, depending on where he was in relation to Jesse Lazare. It was Jeff Mosing who was coming up from behind and closing in on that battle. So this is going to be very interesting to see at the restart whether Michael Levitas can maintain that position. Got a lot of success here at Watkins Glen in the past, and he's looking to maintain that string in the Gold Club category.
Behind Jeff Mosing, Jay Patel trying to get a look at the circuit in front of him. Jay in the 00, with a legion of Kelly Moss racing cars. Seem to have half the field at any one time.
Yeah, it's good, at least a handful of them.
Yeah, and fair play to them.
Running in similar liveries, white and red primarily, but with just little differentiations between them. For example, Santiago Creel's got a bit of green on the car for Mexico. Casey Coolman's got some sort of blue flashes down the side for his differentiation. But yeah, look again, track workers here doing a really good job of clearing most of the debris out of the way, now concentrating on that tyre barrier on driver's left.
Yeah, the sweeper is out there as well. This is the blue tractor with the rotating brushes. That's what's been dispatched to get rid of the little shards of bodywork, which can be so dangerous. And now the attention is being focused on the baled tyres that are up against the Armco driver's left, just after the left-hander at turn number 9.
Well, and that attention is well founded, isn't it? If those tire bundles, which do a great job, if they come out of line and you've got a couple in the wrong position, instead of just absorbing the car's energy, it can launch the car. Not a good thing. So paying very close attention to that. And by the way, it is now official. The race director has trimmed 15 minutes from 45 to 30 minutes of race time for this one because of these conditions. So we hope for a couple of green flag laps when we get back. Welcome back to Watkins Glen International. It is the 6th rounds of the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge by Yokohama, and unfortunately, it does not look like we're going to be able to get this race back to green flag due to the repair, the conditions on the track, and the timing that this is all taking, which is frustrating a couple of the guys. You can see Jeff Mosing wanted a shot at Mike Levitas for the gold win. Everybody else wanted to run at Benitez, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Some happy, some not, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's a shame for, well, for everybody except for Angel Benitez Jr. and Michael Levitas. It looks like they're going to come away with the wins here, and well deserved they will. We've only done what, 3 or 4 laps of green flag racing, but you know, just to keep your nose clean.
Got to be in it to win it.
Yeah, you go. You've got to be in it to win it. Absolutely right. To finish first you've got to finish, and that's exactly what those guys have done. They've been absolutely perfect and really nice driving, particularly by those first two, Benitez and Andrew Long. Great to see Andrew Long running up there for Fault Line Motorsports, relatively new to this series. Andrew Long, this is his first year of Porsche racing, and he's taken it to it like a, well, in today's conditions, like a duck to water, huh?
Very good.
Great.
A shout out as well for Elliott Skier. He must have been cursing himself in that first corner, spun out all the way down into the 20s and has fought his way back into 9th position to minimise the championship points deficit damage between himself and the rest of the field. Angel Benitez Jr. announcing himself back into the championship as a contender with what would appear to be a couple of wins in rounds 5 and 6 at Watkins Glen in very different conditions, and yet he pulled off the winning manoeuvre in exactly the same way, in exactly the same place, in both the wet and the dry, starting from grid 2 and round the outside into the first corner. Jeremy's done some arithmetic.
Yeah, assuming we go to take the checker flag this time around, this is going to put Jesse Lazare back into the championship lead. He took the lead at Sebring, won the first round there, added to it by winning round 2 as well, with Elliott Skier second on both of those occasions. In the 3rd round at Nola, Jesse Lazare had to make do with a 5th place finish while Elliott Skier went on to win it. And then yesterday, the two of them finished in 2nd and 3rd place, with Lazare ahead of Skier at the end. So with the results today, Jesse Lazare unofficially would move up to 84 points, 79 points for Elliott Skier, 72 for Casey Kuhlman, who looks like finishing on the podium today, and then in 4th place will be Andrew Long on 64. Farther back down the order, Angel Benitez Jr. will have 40 points. So he's already made big grounds towards those first two, and of course there's still another race to come this evening, John.
So across the line for the checkered flag for round number 6 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA. No asterisk in the results. It will show a double at Watkins Glen International, and it's a double first. Angel Benitez Jr. has graduated back into the championship in style, with 2 wins in diametrically different conditions here around this classic circuit. Andrew Long will take the 2nd place on the podium in this round 6, and Casey Kuhlman putting himself back in the lead of the championship unofficially at this stage by taking 3rd place, putting himself back in championship contention. Jesse Lazare in 4th place, taking the lead back in the championship. In gold, it's another great result by Michael Levitas, and more frustration for Jeff Mosing, who this time was looking right at the back bumper of Levitas as the yellow flags came out and brought the round 6 to an early conclusion.
Well, it may have been a bit briefer than we would have liked, but it certainly had its exciting moments. We're going to step away. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the highlights and lowlights and bring you some more at Watkins Glen. The field continues to circulate behind the pace car now that this one has been determined and finished under a full course caution. As we said, a little bit of frustration here for some of the competitors in the 6th round of the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge by Yokohama. For others, probably just a bit of relief. They were treacherous conditions, to be sure. And there's Jeff Mosing in that yellow and maroon car with the big M. Mosing Motor Cars having some fun with the class leader in the gold category. That's the 36 we're looking at the DSC Sport. And attractive suspensions entry of Mike Levitas. Mosey coming up along the outside saying, hey, if we'd gone to green, I could have had some fun with you. But let's take a look at a couple of the key moments of this one. As they were coming up for the green, you could see how wet it was. And even there, coming up and out of the boot, everybody looking for any kind of a line. Now, on the green flag, Skier being a little gentle, Benitez around the outside, little touch, Skier goes around, Creel checks up, Hardiman right there, the one who got the worst of it. And he had not only damage to the radiator, but to the suspension on the left side. And that wholesale parts direct machine from More Speed Racing had to pull off and park. That precipitated our first full course caution. Dan Whalen, a couple of incidents, this the second one, and he got a pretty good clip into the barriers, both that right front and right rear at a couple of different moments. But for Angel Benitez, he got to the lead, opened it up a little bit. Andrew Long, though, in that Trianon Hotels fall line car, closing in on that Hertz JDX machine. And then Mike Shine right there, trying to keep the car off of the very wet curbs, pinched it a little bit too much, got into the tire barriers. Lazar getting clipped but not damaged by flying debris. He survived. Shine able to limp the car into pit lane, but the damage to the tire barrier a little bit too much to get this one going back under green. So Angel Benitez, boy, is he back in this championship. 2 wins here. Absolutely great for him this weekend. And in the Gold Cup, matching that, Mike Levitas, who missed the New Orleans round, he comes back with 2 wins over points leader Mosing and David Ducote. Impressive drives all, but perhaps none more impressive than Benitez, teaming up with JDX Racing in that Hertz car, Jeremy Dale, Harrison Bricks, the owners, and coming back and sweeping after losing both races in the final lap last year. However, for some of our points players, John, it was simply salvage mode.
Elliott Skier saving the day by coming in 9th position, 7th in class, of course. That's also key because a couple of gold class winners, so he will get the points for the 7th position.
Make that 81 points.
Right, so he is 2nd place in the championship, doesn't change his position in the championship, but it means he's just a couple of 3 points shy of the lead. And I would think that given what happened on that first corner, at that point, as he's spinning off backwards with the whole field coming towards him, if you'd offered him just 3 points away from the championship leader, he'd have taken that right there and then. Yeah,
and particularly for the next race, which will take place tonight. This is the makeup race from NOLA Motorsports Park, and the grid for tonight's race will be set according to how the grid was set at NOLA. At least I'm pretty sure that's the case, in which case Elliott Skier will start from a pole position in that race, and Angel Benitez, because he was not at NOLA, will have to start right at the back of the field. So that's again another good news for Elliott Skier. And Jesse Lazar, he'll start well towards the front as well. So that battle between those two in the championship will continue later on this evening.
So the train of cars behind the beautiful Viper green Porsche Carrera heading back towards the pit lane. And once again, Angel Benitez Jr. will have the honor of standing on the top step of a very, very famous podium in American motorsports indeed.
True that. When you are up on the box at Watkins Glen International, you have achieved something special. And for Benitez, 2nd straight on the weekend. But Andrew Long, that's his second place finish. And that should prop him right up into the points battle now in 4th and give him a real opportunity here. But again, Benitez, pretty impressive what he was able to do today. And survive this one in these conditions, and really didn't put a wheel wrong. Couple of moments, but everybody was having them. Long coming in as well. And when we come back, we are anticipating having a moment to spend with our winner, get his feedback on the race. So don't go anywhere. We're not done here at Watkins Glen just yet. The rain has picked up. The stewards saw it coming. We finished this one under caution as a result. A treacherous day, but a successful one for a young Venezuelan. Let's hear from Benitez.
Pretty dangerous. But to be honest with you, I mean, it's been a long time since I don't have that much fun. I was actually angry that the race finished. It was a good practice. Thanks God. I took it really slow. It was fun. Yesterday was a hard work with the other drivers. So I mean, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to represent Hertz and GDX as my team the best way possible. and I appreciate what IMSA and all the people involved is doing for me. And we did what we came here to do. So we were happy. It was awesome. I forgot how to drive in Watkins Lane where it is. It is awesome. It's actually unbelievable.
Well, he sure picked it up again quickly, didn't he? Let's take a look at our final results now. Benitez, Long, Coleman complete the podium. Remember the Masters category, so Coleman, the top Masters driver in the Platinum class. Levitas and Mosing, 5th and 6th overall in the Gold cars. Told you they were very effective in the right hands. And they're Masters drivers as well. And Ducote, their 3rd, also Masters, so that's your podium in that category. For both the Gold and the Masters class, you take a look at some of the other players there. Shine having his issue, Creel, a player in the early going. But in the Gold category, well, Michael Levitas returns after missing New Orleans and sweeps.
Man, that was a great race. I knew at the start of the race I tried to play it safe. I was pretty close to the front of the field. I probably started in P8, P9, somewhere around there. I could tell the cars in front were really dicing it up hard going into one. So I backed off a little bit. Lo and behold, they start sliding out. I moved the car up into P5 and really didn't look back, kept a good, strong pace. The DSC Sport Tractive car was just amazing. Put down power, amazing. My daughter Erin, she's been egging me on at home, and I just pulled off this win for her, and it's really exciting. Great competitors. Those guys were working their butt off because at the end, when that caution came out, they moved right up the field and they were there. So had I not had that gap, that would have been a dicey at the end.
Man loves his racing. What a smile. Let's take a look at points in the Platinum class. The margin's gone from 2 to 3. Huge change. Lazar now over Skier. Coleman right there, then Long and Shine complete the top 5. And when you take a look at the Gold category, Mosing extends his lead marginally over David Ducote, but Levitas coming again with a great, great run. Now, we're showing you some shots from Virginia International Raceway because a couple of events down the road. 3 Porsche GT3 Cup USA by Yokohama races will unfold there. The New Orleans round that got rained out was scheduled for Watkins Glen. Got rained out again, so VIR will feature a triple header. But before we go there, we will be going to the Speedrome just outside of Toronto, Ontario. Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, known to many as Mosport, for the next doubleheader round of the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. That is an amazing high-speed momentum facility. Always puts on a great show. Drafting is huge. It's a spectacular place, so make sure you tune in. From great venue to great venue, that's what the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama is all about. The challenges that unfold, but everybody driving these amazing Porsche GT3 Cup cars on these Yokohama tires. It allows them to race fast, furious, and hard from start to finish. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage from here at a wet Watkins Glen International. We look forward to seeing you next time at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. For John Hindhaugh and Jeremy Shaw, I'm Greg Creamer. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time, and until then, take care.